Good morning. I'm Jennifer Erb-Downward, Principal Policy Analyst for the Institute for Children, Poverty, and Homelessness. Thank you for joining us this morning for the launch of our interactive map of student homelessness in New York City. This is the first in a series of interactive maps and tools that ICPH will be making available online to explore the dynamics of homelessness in localities across the United States. The Institute for Children, Poverty, and Homelessness is a policy research organization that focuses on family homelessness in New York City and throughout the United States. We provide data analysis and briefings about factors affecting family homelessness to inform policymakers, elected officials, advocates, and community members. Our goal is to provide information that will further data-driven decision-making. Because homelessness disproportionately impacts children, data about student homelessness and how to improve educational outcomes is critical, particularly in New York City, where over 100,000 school-age children were homeless in school year 2015-16. While overarching trends on students experiencing homelessness citywide and at the school district level in New York City have helped to further our conversation on how to meet the needs of homeless students, to date, one element that has been lacking is a tool that enables people to explore and understand homelessness at the school level. The goal of this interactive map is to provide this capability so that as we work together to meet the needs of students, we can think about what is happening not only citywide and school district-wide, but in individual schools, so that we can more effectively tailor programs to meet the needs of our city's most vulnerable children, and so New York City can serve as an example for other cities across the country of what can be accomplished. ICPH makes its reports and data available for free at www.icphusa.org. After this webinar, you will be able to access the interactive map of student homelessness in New York City on our website as well. We welcome your feedback and inquiries. To that end, you should see a window on the right side of your screen if you're using a desktop computer. Please feel free to type in any questions you have along the way, and Katie and I will try to get to them all. The data for the interactive map comes from the New York City Department of Education school year 2014-15, which is the most recent data we have available for analysis. All of the information in the map has been carefully checked to ensure the privacy rights of students are protected and that the data is in adherence with FERPA. Looking at the map, you'll see a map of New York City with lots of blue dots that represent New York City public schools and orange boundaries that represent the school districts. It's possible to change the boundary that you see, but by default, the boundaries that we've had the map set to are the school districts. On the left-hand side, you will see a legend that provides information about each of the symbols that appears on the map. The most important of these symbols are the dots that I mentioned earlier that are appearing on the map. These dots appear in different colors and sizes, with the lightest color blue representing the lowest percent of students homeless in a school, and the darkest color blue representing the largest percent of students homeless. You will also notice that there's a dot showing concentric circles. This appears on the map representing schools that are co-located, meaning that there's more than one school located in the same building. To interact with the map, you simply click on a dot, and a box will appear. And in this box will be the school name and address, as well as information on the total number of students enrolled in the school, the total number of homeless students, and the percent of students that are homeless. In addition, below this information will be municipal boundaries that the school falls into, including the school district, city council district, community district, police precinct, as well as others. Another way that you can find a specific school that might be of interest is to use the search box in the upper left-hand corner. In this box, you can type some aspect of the school name that you know and are looking for that's unique, and then below a list of school names will appear. Select the school that matches the one that you're looking for, and the map will take you to that location. You'll notice when you find the school, that this box will not list the information on student homelessness. This is because the map is taking you directly to the school location and providing that information. So in order to access data on student homelessness, simply close that box and click on the dot representing the school one more time. And as you'll see here, the information will appear. I mentioned previously that some schools are co-located. So as you can see, this school over here has two different dots appearing in the same location. When there is a co-located school, you will know this not only because you see concentric circles appearing, but also because there will be a number in the left-hand corner of the box and an arrow on the right-hand side. This number indicates how many schools are located within the same building, and the arrow allows you to see the information of all the schools in that location. Another way that you can interact with the map to find schools is to think about schools that meet certain criteria. Rather than looking for an individual school, we can look for a group of schools that all have similar characteristics. This can be done by going over to the left-hand side and clicking the icon that represents a filter. And when you do that, you'll see a number of different options appear in the bar on the left-hand side. So for example, we could click on the filter that allows us to select schools with more than 100 students who are homeless. And when we do this, what we'll see happen is that only the schools in New York City where there are over 100 students who are homeless will remain on the map, and all the other dots representing the schools will disappear. If we'd like to take off this filter, we simply click the check mark, and all of the schools will return again. It's possible to also create your own filter. So, for example, if we wanted to identify schools that had more than 10% of students homeless, we just type 10 in this box and then click Apply. And we'll see only schools that, again, have more than 10% of students in their school who are homeless. Another option we have is to use more than one filter at a time. So we could decide that we wanted to see all the schools with more than 10% of students homeless located in City Council District 9 in Central Harlem. When we do this, we'll see that only the schools that are located in City Council District 9 that have over 10% of students homeless will appear on the map. One thing that you'll notice is that since the boundaries are currently set to the school boundaries, we right now do not see the City Council District boundaries. So in order to change this, we can go over to the Layers tab, which is up, again on the upper left-hand side. We can click on Municipal Boundaries and select City Council District. And we can unselect the school district. And we'll see that now we have the brown boundaries representing the City Council districts. In order to share this map, we have an option again at the upper left hand, where represented by a dot with three arrows extending outwards. We have two different options here. You can copy the link, and this link can be sent in emails, via Twitter, on Facebook, and this will allow anyone to access the map via the link. Or if you have a website where you would like to embed this interactive map, you also can select this code here, and that will allow you to embed the map in your own website. Another option for sharing the map is to print the map to PDF. Here in the upper left-hand corner again, we see the print icon. When you select this, you can add a title. And select print. And a PDF will be created of the map. In this case, we've created a map of schools located in Council District 9 in Central Harlem, where we have more than 10% of students homeless. Now we'll see the PDF has appeared over here. We can click on that, and we have our map complete with the legend on the left-hand side indicating the percent of students who are homeless, represented by each of the dots, and the description of what the brown boundaries indicate, which are the city council districts. So how can this information be used? Well, we hope that educators, policymakers, and community members will use this information to determine how to best allocate resources to identify areas of need and develop partnerships. We anticipate updating the data on which this is based regularly, as well as adding new features. As I mentioned, this is an ongoing series of interactive maps and tools that ICPH will be making available online to explore the dynamics of homelessness in localities across the United States. So this is something that we're very excited about. I'd now like to open up for questions, which we've had a number of them coming in.
Sure. Our first question is, how does this apply to localities outside of New York City?
Sure. So this applies to localities outside of New York City in that this is something that can be done anywhere. Data on student homelessness is available in all cities across the United States, in all states and local education areas. So really, this is something that is an opportunity for all communities to do, and it's a very important way of starting a conversation about student homelessness in your community. Some examples of how this can be done in other communities can be seen on our website. We have a number of state profiles that are using some publicly available education data, but it's also possible to request this data. Usually there are mechanisms that exist through the state.
You said that this is based on the 2014-15 school year. When will you update it?
This data will be updated in August when we release our next student atlas of homelessness. And we'll be then having school year 15-16 data available.
And you already touched on this briefly, but how do you see this data being used?
Well, as I mentioned, our hope is that the data will be used to inform policies and program development in New York City. But we also hope that people use this data in new and creative ways that we haven't yet thought of. There are many different possibilities. One thing that I think was an exciting development that we saw recently was Chancellor Farina bringing together schools with high homelessness in New York City to have a dialogue about what programs were working and to share ideas with one another. This is something that could be done more broadly in schools across New York City, not just with the highest homelessness. Homelessness impacts students in all school districts in the city. So there are a number of opportunities that we see, hopefully, to develop partnerships and to use this data to inform how to support homeless students.
How did you decide the ranges, the proportion of homeless students to be included for each of the dots?
Sure, that's a great question. So these dots were based on our first year of data. The first student atlas of homelessness was created in school year 13-14. And we based these dots on two things. One, natural breaks, which is a method of analysis that maximizes the difference between groups. And the other aspect is that we wanted to ensure student privacy. So in New York City, on average, 8% of students are homeless in a given school year. And that was having the percentage end at 8% enabled us to show the maximum number of schools while maintaining student privacy. So it was a combination of those two.
Are data for charter schools included or only district schools?
So data for charter schools are not included. And that's something that is an area that, is of great importance. Data on charter schools and what is happening in terms of student homelessness is not as readily available as public school data. So this is an area that really needs to be addressed.
Can the data be used to populate this map, be downloaded as a spreadsheet?
Yes, data in this map can be used to populate a spreadsheet. As I mentioned earlier, some of the numbers have been redacted in order to protect student privacy, but there is the ability to download some of the data.
Does this data include all categories of temporary housing? Is there a way to just filter for shelter?
That's a very good question. So the data does include all categories of student housing. Because of, in some cases, a small number of students who will be homeless in a given school, we did not separate out doubled up versus in shelter. That is something that we're continuing to talk about to see how we can maximize that. But at the moment, that's not something that we've done.
Is college attendance for CUNY schools included in this data?
That would be wonderful if it was. We don't have that data source. Whoever is asking that question, if you know of a data source that we should look into, we'd love to talk to you about it.
Would it be possible to add local public libraries to the list? Brooklyn Public Library maintains a list of schools in the nearest library that we can share.
That is a really interesting idea as well. We are looking into expanding the list of resources that appear on the map. We haven't yet decided what resources those will be or when that will be something that's added to the map, but that's a great suggestion.
Other than PDF, can the data be extracted in other forms like Excel?
So yes, that as the earlier question that came in, the data can be extracted in Excel.
How is homelessness being defined here?
Homelessness is being defined using the McKinney-Vento definition of homelessness, so the educational definition of homelessness, not the HUD definition.
We have the data, but not the technology for mapping. Is the mapping program available for other states?
So there are mapping programs available that can be used for free online. This map was done using GIS, which does need to be purchased. However, there are other mapping programs available, and I'm happy to talk to anyone offline about what programs those might be.
Is there a way to track individual students over time, such as students moving in and out of school districts?
So that's another great question. On this map, not yet, but that is something that we're hoping to look at over time, to have this kind of data be interactive in a way that allows us to explore those trends over time. At the moment, this is just for school year 2014-15.
How do you click for attribute table, such as an Excel table listing all school and data?
So that is what I'm going to do with that is we have a PDF online that provides instructions next to the map, and there are step-by-step instructions that will show how to do that. So when you go to our website, you'll click on the icon for the map, and next to that, you'll see a PDF of instructions that will show you how to do that.
Is homeless data on pre-kindergarten populations available?
Pre-K students are included in this map as part of the schools. So if there is a school that has a pre-K program, then those students would be included. They are not separated out by grade.
I'm a principal at an elementary school in Brooklyn. How can I use this information to advocate for our students and their parents?
So that is a great question. I think one great opportunity is to find your school on this map. Start by finding your school, create a PDF of the map, share the map with other people, show members in the community around you, not only homelessness in your school, but the schools near you. And that has been an incredibly powerful way of starting a dialogue. We also have a number of publications online, including the Atlas of Student Homelessness, as well as reports on individual education plan and late receipt of services for students who are homeless, information about graduation, the graduation gap for students who are homeless. All of this information can be used to help people really start to think about not only how many students are homeless in your school and in your community, but what are the consequences that might result for these students who are experiencing extreme vulnerability and really need support in order to be able to succeed.
Will you be sharing this information with city council members or the mayor?
Yes, this information is available to city council members and the mayor. We are definitely doing outreach to all members of city government. All right, thank you all so much. We are now out of time for questions. If anyone has further questions that they would like to reach out to us about, please feel free to contact us at our web address where we have email information on how to reach us. I hope that everyone will find this information useful and invite you to look through the ICPH website for more information that will be helpful to you in your work. I'd also like to invite everyone to save the date for April 20th. This will be the launch of our updated Dynamics of Family Homelessness, and we'll be pushing out information about that as we get closer to the date. Thank you all and have a wonderful day.